Akong pangalan, ako si Dato Timbol Igaan.
My name is Timbol Igaan. My tribe is Tinananan. I live in Arakan Valley, North Cotabato.
I am Pastor Epipanio Manti, and this is my wife, Mrs. Hinia Manti. We work in Bagubo tribe.
Abilino Sabas Senior.
I'm Pastor Abelino Sabas with my wife, Nelly. Today, I continue serving God in Mati, Davao del Sur.
I am Pastor Benito Linganon from Manobo tribes. I became pastor for almost 25 years in my tribes.
Nagapastor ko sa
I'm Pastor James Matias. I'm pastoring in Matalam. My tribe is Tagabawa tribe.
In the Philippines last year, on the island of Mindanao, we were able to start over 300 churches. The previous year, another 200 plus churches were started there. Normally you'd think this isn't possible, but what we've done there is really gone back to the Bible and offered them a model, which is just a biblical model. And it's a model that we find in 2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 2, where Paul is talking to Timothy and he says, go and find reliable men, teach them the things that I have taught you, and then have them go and teach other people. And so that's what we've been doing in the Philippines, is we've been training pastors to go and train other leaders and other pastors in their area. And we focus on people in the remote areas of the Philippines who come from the distant tribes and in the mountain tribes. Most of them have no access to theological training or seminaries. And so we've come alongside them and partnered with pastors to start over 200 training centers across Mindanao Island, which is an island of about 17 million people, so that they can train more and more leaders so that they can share the gospel and lead that island to Christ.
We have already a Bible school student. We are teaching, training, because our goal is evangelism, then training, then church planting.
Nayeli saton
Me,
na irat
for
pastor.
myself, and the Sarangani Association are very thankful to our God because God sent us this Antioch Institute for us to learn more and to equip more the pastors.
Every last Saturday of the month, we have a Bible training in our place. We have already more than 30 students in my church.
We have started 10 students. With these 10 students, we teach them and commission them to be an evangelist. And as of this moment, we started visiting in our area, in every house. There are families that are accepting Jesus Christ by way of teaching these 10 students, and these 10 students are reaching them to Christ.
And so over the last 3 years, we've been able to start hundreds of churches. The pastors are actually training more than 200 other pastors from about 20 different denominations and are working broadly across the island of Mindanao and even penetrating into the Muslim areas.
As of now, we have 9 churches in different places of province of Davao del Norte.
First session that we have 55 students, and second session we have 75 students. And it is a great help for us to grow a church.
Through Antioch and through the knowledge that I have learned in Antioch, we have a extension now, and we also penetrate in the other denomination.
Muslim area.
The time that our church attend this Antioch Institute, it helped us a lot in the ministry that God wanted us to do. And as of this moment, we have 2 extension churches.
I have some students, and they are learning, and they have also a student. And because of Antioch, some people come and accept Jesus Christ.
Walang puson mo kay kining Antioch, dako kaayong opportunity kay libre ang libro, nakahimo mi og dugang mga tao nga nangaluwas, o kining mga tao nga nangaluwas, mga sakop ni sila sa mga gahom-gahom, Like for example sa Kurasunan, Kurusan, Rimnan, o niining team sa CPG na muldi na sa pagtuon nini nga book gikan sa Antioch, nahimo siyang gabayan para mapadako.
I will wait for you to move, for your mighty hand to save when the troubled waters rise. You are my high.
Now you might think training on this scale would be very, very expensive. But in fact, I was talking to a local seminary in the Philippines. They were asking me about how we're able to do what we do and how we raise the funds to be able to do what we do to plant so many churches and to train so many thousands of leaders. And this seminary graduates 6 to 8 students every year. 6 to 8, that's it. And it's a very institutional setting. They have a nice campus, they have big properties, they have lots of staff. And when it came down to actual dollars and cents, what we found out was our budget for training 2,000 pastors, for operating 200 centers across Mindanao Island, and for seeing hundreds of churches planted every year, our budget was about equivalent to their maintenance budget. So this model that we're using is a very cost-effective model, but it's also a model that produces results. And it's focused on results, and it's focused on bearing fruit. One of my favorite passages of scripture is found in John chapter 15, verse 16. And there Jesus says, "You didn't call me, but I called you. And I appointed you to go and bear lasting fruit, and fruit that will last forever, and that will remain."
Gates of praise, your walls of salvation, your gates of praise.
There's two critical components which we have to have as the core of what we're doing. The first thing is we only do what God calls us to do, and we require this of our students, we require this of the pastors that we're working with, and ourselves. We seek God and we seek what He wants us to do, and then we do that. The second thing is that whatever God calls us to do, we do it, and we take that step of faith and we accomplish what He wants us to do based on our faith and not based on our own resources and our own abilities. It's not about the materials that we use. It's not about the money that we have. It's not about the education of the pastors that we have. Most of the pastors are average of 8th grade education. Most of them have been pastoring for quite a few number of years in the Philippines. They just didn't have any resources. They didn't have materials. They didn't have a way to disciple their people. They didn't have ideas of how to disciple their people. And they always felt like because they were rural pastors and pastors back in the mountains with no education, not only could they not even qualify for seminary education, but they couldn't even get there.
It's hard to church or to have a church planting without training leaders.
With so many pastors and lay workers that we have, we can bring them in here for training.
There are so many additional wisdom, knowledge in this institute.
For me, I'm grateful being a part and a recipient of this study because it helped us a lot. We have no time and money going to seminary, and we are thankful to God that He allowed this Antioch Institute to be our stepping stone
Tabang para sa amo ug sa mga tao dito nga naging kauban ako sa pagpamuhat sa Ginoo.
By this idea, sir, I can help my fellow natives in my village.
What we've been able to do is we've been able to take what you would get in a seminary, the curriculum, the training materials, although our training materials are highly practical and they're not very academic. Although there is an academic component with it, it's mainly just Bible teaching, and then it's applying it into their own setting, in their own villages, in their own mountain areas, in their own tribes.
When I pastoring in my place, in my tribes, there are no materials to be used. I would like to to help. I would like to train my tribes, but I have nothing to do because of situation in our lives. But when Antioch Institute arrived in the Philippines, and then I have now so many books.
The Antioch is a big help for us because the books is very easy to understand. The teaching is very easy. The ideas, the tactics about church planting is very easy.
The material of Antioch is very applicable and easy to understand because they translate in Cebuano.
Ministering in the church is very hard without really materials to use.
Ka Manama,
We conduct a class through the material of Antioch. We gather in Gumamela Street, Bansalan, Davao del Sur.
The teaching is very good teaching. Then it's very clear because it is a Visayan. It's a Visayan language. The testimony of our pastor is they use the books for their churches. They use the book for their Bible studies, and they use the books for their in the Sunday school.
We give them materials to disciple and train other pastors and other leaders in their areas. Therefore, we multiply what is done across the island of Mindanao. And it's very cost effective. We can add 100 students without having even the cost go up of the training. All we do is print another extra 100 books, which cost maybe $100 extra. And that's all it takes to multiply the training on the island of Mindanao. And we do the same thing as in Cambodia as well. We've been doing it here in Cambodia for about 10 years now, and we've seen thousands of churches started. We have work in every single province of Cambodia. We go through training with pastors. It's an ongoing training that we have with pastors, and we'll reach anywhere from 1,500 to 2,000 pastors every single year in Cambodia. And we're hoping to see that even continue to grow in the Philippines. But we're glad to give away everything that we have. We're not trying to keep it. We don't want to protect it. Like I said, there's nothing really that special about the material that we have. It's just the concepts that we're using are just from the Bible. And we just teach people the Bible. We put resources in their hands and let them go and accomplish what God would have them to do in their villages and their communities.
For me, I know that God will do a miracle because in our place in Arakan, there are 28 barangay, but there are only one has a church. So my prayer is not only the one barangay could accept Jesus Christ, but my concern prayer is the 27 barangay will accept Jesus Christ.
In our ministry, in our place, in our village, only walking 5 hours, 3 hours, because there is no transportation. Climbing the mountains. There are many people in our place know God in their heart. Sometimes I meet bad people with guns, just trying to stop me to go to the top of the mountain. But I speak them with love. The people here is very interested to listen because first time for them heard about Jesus.
We want to continue the Antioch Institute in our association in Sarangani province. We want that we can train more people so that we can reach our people in our villages in Sarangani and to plant more churches.
Our prayer with my whole family is that every day that God will use us, that there will be a soul to bring to Christ.